All right, all right. So shall we continue now? We were discussing how MTG Olympiad preparation program, it is helpful. So it provides complete syllabus coverage. We have already discussed that. It is focused on giving extra edge to students' preparation. You already know that. Now let us discuss the next point. Doubts related to the topic will be dealt by learned faculty. We have the provision of very good and experienced faculty, and they will take up your doubts. And children, each session you will have two teachers. The one main teacher will teach you the topic, and there will be other teacher who will assist you through the chat box. In case you have intermittent doubts and queries, you can post your queries in the chat box, and teacher will entertain it then and there. So all your doubts will be cleared in that particular session only. And there is provision of appropriate assessment in each session. Now, children, any teaching learning process is not complete without proper assessment. So we have kept in mind that assessment should be very appropriate. And for that, we have focused on continuous comprehensive evaluation or assessment, wherein you will be asked intermittent questions during the session. After completing one topic, the teacher will take up some questions. Some of them will be from Olympiad itself. She will discuss the questions in the class, and this is called practice time. So there are at least 2 to 3 practice time in each session. After the session is over, you will be provided with an assignment related to that topic which your teacher taught you, and you will be you will be attending that assignment, and you will access that assignment through your online portal. After a week's study, you will be provided with a weekend test so that you can come to know that how much you have understood, and teacher will also be able to assess your understanding. Okay. Now, simple tricks to solve Olympiad problems by experienced faculty. Now, children, the problems are tricky. Olympiad is not a general and regular examination. The questions are very tricky. So to solve them, you need special tricks that will be inferred by the teachers. All right. Now, we have understood a lot about the program. So to sum up the main features, what we have learned till now is it is having the provision of live classes, syllabus coverage in 22 to 30 sessions, small batch size, challenging exercises, doubt clearance, and timely assessment. So these are the salient features of this National Science Olympiad preparation program. All right. Now, move forward. What as asked in your exams, like multiple choice, very short answer, long answer, this type of questions are not there in Olympiad. Syllabus is same. Questions are extracted from your syllabus only. We always keep in mind the the level and grade. We always keep that in mind. So, but questions are a little twisted. They are not direct. So the type and pattern of questions are quite unfamiliar. So there needs some strategy. You require some strategy to attempt those papers, those questions. So your teacher will help you out with that. So many times, students find it difficult to finish the test in the prescribed time limit. So they need to learn the time management also. Children, time management is a very important aspect. It plays a very important role whether you will be a winner or not. It creates that very fine line, that sometimes question paper is very lengthy, and mostly NSO is lengthy also, So in that case, what will happen? Children know the answers, but due to lack of time management, they are unable will be taught about time management also. The same question, how to solve it by shortcut, how to give minimum time and get the maximum results. This all will be taken care of in Olympiads. So now let's dive to see what kind of questions come in NSO. Now, children, this is just the tip of iceberg. Discuss with you all. It is actually the type of questions that come in Olympiads, and how your teacher will take up these questions in your class, in your original sessions. I'm just going to tell you something about that. So children, different categories of questions, they appear in National Science Olympiad. One of them is questions based on classification chart. Now, children, classification chart, the idea about a classification chart is that something is classified, in this. You have to see what is being classified into subcategories, and then you have to give a correct answer regarding the variables that are listed in that flow chart, in that classification chart, and then you have to select the correct option. Let us discuss this one particular question. Here you can see that we have food divided into two categories, energy giving food and bodybuilding food. Here, P and Q are two variables that are present in this flow chart. Now, it is very obvious that P is the example of energy giving food and Q is the example of bodybuilding food. Now, we need to find out the option wherein both P and Q have been correctly identified. Now, let us take up the options one by one. In the option A, P is ghee. Now, children, ghee is rich in fats. Okay, and fat is energy giving food. So here, ghee can be placed at P. Okay, so P has been correctly identified in option A. Now we come to Q. Q is pulses. Pulses are the source of proteins, and proteins are bodybuilding food. So here, pulses can be placed at Q. All right. So as both P and Q have been correctly identified, hence option A here is the correct answer. But before locking your answer, you need to rule out the other options as well. Now let us discuss the options one by one. Here, option B is P cereals and Q chapati. Now children, cereals, they are rich in carbohydrates. Carbohydrate is energy giving food. So cereals can be placed at P. But again, Q is chapati. And chapati is made up of cereals again. And those are the sources of carbohydrates. They are not bodybuilding food. So as Q is incorrect in this option, hence option B is incorrect. You will mark it as incorrect. Now let us discuss option C. Here P is milk and Q is chapati. You know that milk is a complete food and chapati is a source of carbohydrates. It cannot be placed at Q as Q is incorrect. So option C holds incorrect. Now option D, P is bread and Q is cereals. Both are the sources of carbohydrates, energy giving food. So again, option D is incorrect. So the correct answer here is option A. So this is the way you will attempt your questions in examinations also. You need not hurry. You need to be very patient, rule out the wrong answers, and then lock your correct answer. That is the key to solve your questions. Now, children, this flow chart, it can also be in reversed form. How? Suppose some example of that particular category, like maize. You know that maize is a cereal and these are energy giving food. So you have to derive that what could be P and Q. So flow chart can be direct also and flow charts can be indirect also. That you have to see. There are different categories of these classification charts. Now we have the next question on the screen. Refer to the given flow chart. Children, again here you can see we have a flow chart wherein animals have been divided into three categories: herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. Now, 1, 2, and 3, they represent the examples of these categories. So, animals have been divided on the basis of their feeding habit. So, this is a very direct flow chart. Now, you have to see that what is asked question. Here, they are asking that which option has got the correct combinations of identified variables. So here, let us take up the options one by one. In option A, 1 is cow and 3 is bear. So cow is a herbivore, all right? So cow can be placed at 1, that is correct. Bear is an omnivore. So bear can be placed at 3 in the flow chart, that is also correct. As both the variables have been identified correctly, so here the correct answer should be option A. But let us also rule out other options. Option 2 is crow. Crow is an omnivore. It cannot be placed with carnivore. As variable 2 has been identified incorrectly, you need not waste your time to go and look for the other variable. This whole option stands incorrect. Similarly, in option C, 1 is fox. But Fox is not a herbivore. It is an omnivore. It cannot be placed with one. As one variable has been identified incorrectly, the whole option C holds incorrect. Then in option D, one is eagle, but we know that eagle is a predator bird. It is a carnivore, so it cannot be a herbivore. Hence, option D is also incorrect. So the correct answer here is option A. I hope that classification chart type questions is clear to everybody. The difficulty level keeps on increasing with the classes, okay? The one which is asked in class 2 and 3 will not be asked in class 7th and 8th. The difficulty level keeps on increasing, but yes, the pattern is more or less going to be the same, all right? Now let us take up the next category, that is selecting odd one out type questions. Now children, these are a bit too there is no set pattern or formula to find out the odd one out. You have to put your brains and think very positively. So let us solve this question. Here you can see there are different types of fibers listed in different options. Option A is nylon, option B is silk, option C is wool, and option D is cotton. So you can see that different fibers are there, but how to find out which is the odd one out of these? Now let us see the source of these fibers, because nothing else is written here, only the name of fibers is there. So first of all, we will check for the source of these fibers. Now children, nylon is a man-made fiber. It is not obtained in nature. It is a man-made fiber. Silk is obtained from an insect. It is an animal fiber. And wool is also obtained from a mammal like sheep. So it is also an animal fiber. Cotton is obtained from plant. So silk, wool, and cotton, these are obtained from either plants or animals. It means that they are obtained from nature. In that case, which is the odd one out? Nylon is the odd one out, because it is synthetic fiber and the rest of the fibers are obtained from the nature. So the correct answer here should be option A. I hope this much is clear to each one of you. Then we have next category of questions. All right. Now children, a Venn diagram is a diagram of overlapping circles. Let me show it to you. Either you will have 2 overlapping circles or you will have 3 overlapping circles. All right. There will be some characteristics in each circle. Suppose this is circle 1, this is circle 2. Again, this is circle 1, this is circle 2, and this is circle 3. Suppose some characteristic P is listed in circle 1 and Q is listed in circle 2. And if you put a variable in the overlapping part of these circles, suppose R. So R is going to have the characteristics of both P and Q. All right. Similarly, if you see this diagram of 3 overlapping circles, if we have A characteristic in circle 1, B in circle 2, and C in circle 3. And suppose there are again variables in the overlapping part of these circles. So this part has got, suppose, X, all right? This is X. So X variable will have characteristics of circle 1 and 2, all right? Similarly, Y variable will have the characteristics of circle A and C, that is 1 and 3. And Z variable will have characteristics common in circles 2 and 3. And if something is placed in the center, for example, W, it will have common characteristics shared by circle 1, 2, and 3. I hope this much is clear to everybody. So this is the concept of Venn diagram. The first thing which you need to understand is to see what Venn diagram is talking about. Let us see this particular Venn diagram in the question. All right, here we can see breathes through lungs, breathes through skin, breathes through gills. All right, so here we can see that this Venn diagram is talking about the breathing structure, all right, probably of animals. So here P, Q, and R, they represent some animal. Similarly, X, Y, and Z, they also represent some animal. P is an animal that breathes through lungs, not through skin, because it is exclusive to this. Similarly, Q is an animal that breathes through skin, not through lungs. And R is an animal that breathes through gills, not through skin or lungs. Okay. But if we talk about animals X, Y, and Z that are placed in the overlapping part of the circle, it means that X is an animal that can breathe either through skin or through gills. Similarly, Y is an animal that can breathe either through lungs or through skin, and Z is an animal that can breathe either through lungs or through gills. Okay, so now we need to find out which alphabet represents tadpole. Now, children, tadpole is the larva of frog. It is the young one of frog. It is completely aquatic and it breathes through gills. So we have to see which of these animals breathes exclusively through gills. I think R here is the correct answer, isn't it? So R represents a tadpole as R is present in option A. Hence, option A here is the correct answer. So this is how you will solve Venn diagram. And in your classes, teacher will come across different types of Venn diagram, different concepts will be there. This is a simplified form, which I am showing to all of you. All right. Here only variables have been asked. Sometimes you may be asked to identify the variable and then select correct and incorrect options regarding that. So difficulty level keeps on increasing with each class. Okay, now we have graph-based questions. Now, children, graph-based question is the, graph is a kind of, diagram of intersecting lines. We have got a vertical line and we have got a horizontal line. The horizontal line, it represents the x-axis, whereas the vertical line, it represents the y-axis. All right. Now, the categories are listed or on the x-axis, whereas their amounts are listed on the y-axis. Now let us see what is the question talking about. The given graph shows the amount of nutrients in food. Okay, so what can be X? Here we can see, first of all, we will see that food X. This graph is particularly talking about the nutrient composition of food X. So here, food X has this amount of carbohydrate and a medium amount of roughage and medium amount of protein. So out of these food items, which item will correspond to the similar kind of composition? Most probably, out of the given options, idli is the one food item that contains all these nutrients, because option A is cheese. Cheese is a rich source of protein. Egg is also a rich source of protein, and fats also. Butter is rich in fat. But idli has got carbohydrates, fats, and roughage also. Proteins and fats, and roughage also. So option A, C here is the correct answer. So graph-based question is basically based on the idea that graph will always give you a clue about certain situation. Okay, just like here, the graph has shown you the quantity, the composition of different food nutrients in a food. So first of all, you will logically analyze that and then you will find out the correct option. All right. Now let us move on to the next question. This is figure-based question. All right. Now, figure-based question is a simple one. You know that a figure is shown to you, and maybe the questions are asked regarding the label parts. For example, here you can see that a picture of pneumatophore is shown. Children, this is a tree that is grown in marshy area, swampy area. So what happens is these soil, these are all saturated with water. The soil in the marshes, it is saturated with water. And we know that the roots of the plants, they take up the oxygen directly from the soil. But if all the soil space is filled with water, it gets saturated with water, there will be no air for the roots of the plants to breathe. In that situation, the plant will suffocate to death. It will die. So these plants have developed a kind of adaptation called as pneumatophores. These are aerial roots. These roots come above the ground and they absorb air directly. They absorb oxygen directly from the air. So in this picture, you've been asked to identify pneumatophores and then select the correct statement regarding it. Now, children, most of you get confused with correct and incorrect. Children know the correct answer, but in a hurry, sometimes they pick the incorrect one. So please read the question very carefully while you are attempting it. a very silly mistake, makes your answer incorrect. So in this case, we have been asked to identify structure X and then select the correct statement regarding it. So we have identified what is structure X. It is pneumatophore. Now let us read the options, statements one by one. Option A is X is called pneumatophore and is found in the plants growing in marshy areas. Option B, X is called lenticel and is found in plants growing in desert areas. Option C, X is called pneumatophore and is found in the plants growing in desert areas. And option D, X is called lenticel and is found in plants growing in hilly areas. Now you can easily rule out option B and option D because here the first part of the statement is incorrect. It has identified the part X as incorrect, that is lenticel. We know that it is pneumatophore, so your options B and D are ruled out. Now coming to option A and C. In option A, they call it as pneumatophore. They have identified this correctly, but they have also identified the second part correctly, that is, it is found in the plants growing in marshy areas. Okay, so it means that option A is absolutely correct. Option C is incorrect because they have identified the first part as correct, but the second part says that they are growing in desert areas, which is incorrect. So the correct answer here is option A. So similarly, different types of figure-based questions will be asked. Sometimes only you will be asked to identify the parts of that figure, and sometimes more indirect questions can be there, wherein you will be asked to identify that part, and then you need to identify correct or incorrect statement or function of that particular labeled part. Anything could be all right. Type question in which you will be given different types of statements. So that statement could be from the same topic or they can be from different topics. All right. So let us take up these statements one by one. Here it is. Statement one is, wait a minute. Cooking makes the food soft, tasty, and easy to chew. So that is correct. We cook the raw foods, we cook the hard food that are not easily digestible. We can only eat fruits that are raw because they get easily digested. All right. Reheating the food again and again restores the nutrients in it. But that is incorrect. Reheating the food, it does not restore the nutrients. Rather, nutrients are lost. All right. Eating junk food very often can lead to health problems. Absolutely. Children nowadays are very fond of junk food. Pizza, burger, they want all that. But these junk food are actually junk, children. They are very literal to their meaning. They are junk food only. They will not help you out in any way. They are only giving soothing feeling to your tongue. That's it. So eating junk food very often can lead to health problems. Absolutely correct. Old people need food that is raw and hard to chew. Now this statement is incorrect because old people have got very weak denture, weak dentition. So they need very properly cooked food. Okay, so they cannot eat raw and hard food. Now the question says which of these statements are correct. Now it is asking for the correct statements. You need to find out the combination of statements that is correct. You need to find out the option where they are listed. Now we know that option 1 and option 3 are correct. Now let us see which of the given options have got the correct statements. That is option C. Here both 1 and 3 are correct. All right. Option A says 1, 2 and 3, but 2 is the incorrect statement. Option B says 3 and 4. 4 is incorrect. And option D only includes the one correct statement, that is 3. It is not including statement 1. So the correct answer here is option C. Now let us move on to paragraph-based question. Now children, paragraph-based question can also be direct. It can be indirect. Okay. You will be given a paragraph. You have to read that. Sometimes the paragraph is direct and sometimes you will be given some identify Now let us take up the paragraph. Here we can see, read the given passage and select the correct option regarding the food nutrients X, Y, and Z. Now people who do a lot of physical work, such as laborers, need to eat more of X. Y builds our muscles and helps us to grow. Y is therefore known as bodybuilding food. Z gives us more energy than X. So people who do a lot of physical work, such as laborers, they need a lot of carbohydrates. So X here can be carbohydrate rich food. Y builds our muscles. So which is the bodybuilding food? That is protein. And Z gives us more energy than X. It means Z is also an energy giving food, but it is giving more energy than X. We have just identified that X is carbohydrate. So which is the other energy giving food? It is fat. So Z is fat, fatty food. Now let us see the options one by one. Option A states that fruits have simple X and hence are digested quickly, whereas wheat, corn, rice, potato, etc. have complex X and hence take more time to get digested. That is absolutely correct. We know that fruits have got simple sugars. So that is why you can eat fruits raw. But many cereals, they have got complex sugars. They need to be cooked properly. Only then they can be digested by your digestive system. So here option A is absolutely correct. Now coming to option B. Y helps to repair damaged body parts. So which food nutrient helps to do that? Protein. Okay. So that is absolutely correct. Whenever we get injured, our doctor suggests us to take more of proteins. Why? Because it helps in healing of the body. It repairs the damaged body parts. It helps to grow. When we eat too much of Z, it gets stored in our body as body fat. When we eat a lot of fatty food, what happens? Our body starts storing it. So that is also correct. As all the statements are correct, so the correct answer here will be option D. Okay, so this is the one pattern of paragraph based questions. Many different types of questions come under this category, which you will come across when you will start this NSO program. All right, and get enrolled in that. Now, questions based on table. Children, table is also a kind of classification. You can see here, in table also you categorize certain things. For example, in this particular table, which has been listed in the question, we have animals, different types of animals in this vertical row, animal P, animal Q, animal R. And here we can see characteristics. So in the first column, it is written breathing through spiracles, then breathing through skin. Here it is herbivores, and here it is omnivores. It means we are talking about two different characteristics. One is the breathing structure and other is the eating habit of that particular animal. A tick represents the presence of that particular characteristics, whereas a cross represents the absence of that particular characteristics. Now here let us see animal P. It is breathing through spiracle. It means it has got spiracles as its breathing structures, and it is an omnivore. All right. Animal Q, it breathes through skin. Okay. But it is neither herbivore nor omnivore. It simply indicates that it belongs to the third category, that is carnivore. You can easily, conclude from this. If something is neither herbivore nor omnivore, obviously it is going to be carnivore. A very broad category I'm talking about. So animal Q is definitely breathing through skin and it is a carnivore. Now let us talk about animal R. It neither breathes through spiracle, it neither breathes through skin. It is a herbivore. So eating habit is clear, but breathing structure is not clear. So in this case, you cannot figure out what is the breathing structure. It is very vague here in this question. Now let us see which of these animals is cockroach and frog respectively. Now children, cockroach is an insect. It is an insect, right? So it can breathe through spiracles. That is right. And it is an omnivore also. So more possibly animal P could be cockroach. This animal could be cockroach. Now let us talk about frog. Frog is a carnivore. Let us see out of these which is a carnivore. So here you can see uh, animal Q is carnivore because it is neither herbivore nor omnivore. It is carnivore and it can breathe through skin. You all know that frogs can breathe through skin also. So animal Q could be possibly frog. Now we need to find out the option wherein these animals have been identified correctly and matched with the variables. So here we can see that option C has got the correct combination of variables. P can be cockroach and Q can be frog. So here this is the correct answer as option C. So similar kind of other questions you'll also get in which different categories will be there, different characteristics will be there. Either you will be asked to identify variables, or you can be asked some more indirect questions based on that table. All right. Now let us talk about match the following type of question. So children, this is a very simple question, and you must have come across this in your exams also, a very simple one. Here you can see there are two columns, okay? Column 1 and column 2. In column 1, we have different types of vitamins, and in column 2, you've got different types of deficiency diseases that occur due to that vitamin. In NSO, you can have questions with more than two columns, column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. Okay, so you need to match all them, and then you need to find out the option which gets the correct combination of the codes. So in that case, first of all, what you will do, you will match it. So vitamin A deficiency causes night blindness. Vitamin B deficiency causes beriberi. Vitamin C deficiency causes scurvy. And vitamin D deficiency causes rickets. All right. So we can see here that A goes with K, P goes with K, Q goes with L, S goes with M, and R goes with I. So see which has got the correct combination. I think option B. You've got the correct codes of combination in option B. So you need to be very careful, children, and patient while doing match the column type of questions. First of all, write down somewhere, match it with a pencil, and then find out the correct option which has got all the correct codes. So this is the match the following type of questions. So with this, we have covered different types of questions which are, which you will come across in your Olympiad. Still, there are a lot more to unravel.